Some 50 years ago, Eula Hall raised $1,400 and opened the doors to the Mud Creek Clinic in Grethel, Kentucky. The clinic served all those who needed it, regardless of their ability to pay. This Appalachian healthcare pioneer, who passed away in 2021, is remembered for her unwavering dedication to her patients and community. And she leaves behind a legacy that continues to grow and provide much-needed health care to Eastern Kentuckians in a clinic that now bears her name.
But Eula has been one of the most dedicated people that I have ever known to try to bring services in this country. She had the drive, and the know-how was dedicated that everybody should receive health services, and stayed on the job and did not surrender to anybody.
Eula Hall was a revolutionary activist. She fought for accessible health care for the people of Eastern Kentucky and Appalachia as a whole. But not only that, she was also an activist just for the overall care of people. Eula Hall was born in October 1927. Growing up, Eula noticed in her home community of Greasy Creek, which was a holler in Pike County, Kentucky, that even though her family didn't have a whole lot, there were a lot of families who had even less. She would notice on walks with her dad which homes had smoke coming out of the chimneys, which indicated to her if there was smoke, they were cooking supper, but if there was no smoke, people didn't have food to cook. So she started stealing things away from their home to take to the neighbors. So she really became an advocate for her community even as a child.
You know, a lot of people didn't care about hillbillies, but Eula was one of them, and that was her people. And she just wanted to help everybody, you know, that didn't have medical care, didn't have food, you know, didn't know how to go about getting benefits they were entitled to.
I don't know of any better way to spend my time than making sure that some sick person gets the proper health care. All my life, I thought this is ridiculous that people, good people, the best people on earth, has to suffer and die for the lack of money.
Around the early 1970s, she was able to start a clinic here in our community. At that time, it was called the Mud Creek Clinic.
The original clinic was located in a 4-room trailer outside of Hall's home in the T-Berry community of Floyd County.
The need was just so great. There's no one hardly had any insurance at all. We were doing sliding fee skills all day long, you know. Like I said, and those that couldn't afford anything, Eula would pay for medicine, you know, herself.
Patients that live here at the time had a lot of trouble traveling to Prestonsburg and Pikeville, so being able to build a clinic right here in their community gave them access they wouldn't have otherwise had.
Eula knew that without the resources they needed, they couldn't get healthy. She would drive their medications to them when they could not get out. And she did that regularly from the beginning because at the time, a lot of people didn't have transportation. They didn't have cars. A lot of the roads were not paved. The clinic also provides other services, including food and clothing. Providing those basic needs were really important to her. The way that Eula cared for communities with food, with clothing, with checking in, she really revolutionized preventative care in the area by creating a whole person care system. In the 70s, you did have a lot of attention being brought to Appalachia because of, this war on poverty with President Johnson. And so we had an influx of social programs. While those programs started with really great intentions, a lot of people in the area were distrustful of other people coming in. They were distrustful of organizations that came from outside, which is one of the reasons that what Eula did ultimately was so special, because she was a person from the community working for the community.
People used to think there's nothing you could do, and they just sit back, especially women. They thought they were just trapped for life, and generation after generation just served their purpose and went on out, But it's different now, and it's by organizing and working together.
In 1982, the clinic did burn, and even though it was a major loss, Eula did not miss a beat.
patients started coming in. Of course, they didn't know it had burnt. Eula got on the phone to the telephone company, and she said, we got to wheel a tree up here to put a phone on. And he said, you can't put a phone on a tree. She said, you do it all the time for these miners up in the mountains, you know. So they came that day, and they put a phone up in the tree so the doctor could call in the medication. It was truly a sad day. But, you know, Eula, she wouldn't want to be sad long about it. We never missed a day.
After the fire, she had the opportunity to rebuild. The stipulations of the grant was that she be able to match the funds. And Eula set about raising money to match the funds in a very community-based way. There were yard sales, there were bake sales, there was even a roadblock at one point to take up money. And she wound up matching the grant with an additional $40,000.
This is the beginning of a new era for the Mud Creek Clinic. I want to thank everybody that's helped in any way to make this day possible.
So the clinic in itself is a legacy that will reach and touch the lives of many people.
I grew up here on Mud Creek. As a kid, I would come here. Around age 15, I started having some health problems. They did some blood work, and that blood work led to me being diagnosed with leukemia. If this clinic had not been here, would things have been a little worse in my scenario, in my case, and would I have been more difficult to treat? I always kind of felt like at some point I would end up here because this is my community, this is my home, and every day you walk into the clinic, you know that you're walking into a place that has history behind it. And Eula is just the biggest part of it. That's why they changed the name of the clinic from Mud Creek Clinic to Eula Hall Health Center.
Eula passed away on May the 8th, 2021. It's just hard to remember all the awards that she received. You know, I mean, she had all kinds of honors.
She knew that people were worthy of being cared for regardless of their income, and that's why she took such extreme measures.
Hey everybody, I'm Chip Polston, your host for Kentucky Life. Now, if you like that story, and let's say you want to explore more of Kentucky, here's how you can do it. Just click that subscribe button for more great content.